a monopoly on trees, and our country's bordered by 3 different seas.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. We invented the zipper, we got expertise. We made insulin to combat disease. Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that you wanna be Canadian. The French will get the wine and cheese, go while I chill with the Aussies, but I know that you wanna be Canadian.
Et si ce n'était pas assez, on a 2 langues officielles, l'anglais et le français. Ooh la la.
Yeah, I know that you wanna be Canadian, please. Where else do you find mounted police or go to the hospital and not pay fees? I know that you wanna be Canadian, please.
And when freshwater's in high demand, we got the world's largest supply on hand. So you know that we can make a pretty good friend, but it's even better if you can.
We're together, monarchy, the U.S. has the money, but I know that.
Okay. I thought I plugged in my headphones, but then sound came out as speakers. And I also kind of did this last minute, so I'm kind of waiting for Jen to show up. Because it's my fault. I didn't forget it. I just simply went, oh shit, yeah, we're supposed to, oh yeah, and then I just went, Jen, blah. And like, see, nobody is even here yet to even say hi in chat, which means this is just a Spurg moment, but that's okay. I love Spurg moments. You love Spurg moments. We all love Spurgy time. Cat, get off my computer. I swear to God, you restart my computer during a live stream, I will kill you. But, yeah. Hi. I mean, this kind of gives me, like, the perfect opportunity, to, tell my cat to go shut up. Sixer. Greetings, one and all, and more importantly, hello there. Well, yes, you are correct. Hello, hi, how's it going? At the moment, I am Jenless, only because, I forgot to go, Jen, we're streaming! Quick enough for her to get into the Discord, exactly on time. Plus, in exactly 1 hour, she's got, Hammer, and that's important. And where did my Discord go? I could have sworn I was in Discord, and then it just disappeared. Everything's just, like, all fucked up today, and I think it's because it's May the 4th. So, clearly, you know, May the 4th be with you. Why is my avatar not lighting up while I'm talking? That's a great question. Okay, alright. Now I'm actually in Discord, although, Jen is still not here. But that's okay, because we can talk about great things. At work, just dropping in to say and press like, oh my God, you are the best. You are so gracious. I love you. I love all the likes. I love all the people that show up. I really do. And I am so prepared for a moment when Jen's not here, even though I'm sure she will be at some point. Maybe, hopefully, it could happen. Although I was gonna bring this up anyway, although I don't know how everybody feels on it, but everybody is in a shit show over the Supreme Court leak. And I was gonna play guess which clerk leaked stuff from the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land of America. Love is a lie. Hate moves us all. Hi, Steve. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve really needs a girlfriend, I think. So hit him up, because he's our biggest peened bachelor on The Price is Steve. I haven't done a live stream alone in a long time, and I know that I'm alone and it's my fault. But yeah, so I wasn't sure the angle of the Roe versus Wade stuff that I should talk about, if I should talk about how I think it's hilarious that most Americans are kind of like Brexit right now, where most Americans don't actually know what Roe versus Wade does, and how the media and the left and everybody has persuaded them that if Roe versus Wade gets overturned, that abortion is going to be illegal suddenly, because people only think of either ors, or either ors, or and. Hey, Scotty. And then, of course, there's the other thing to it, which, Spot Me, the Democrat, food porn has been created. Oh, thanks, trucker. Oh, wow, there really is a food porn for the chef that needs the food porn. But Spot Me, the Democrat, oh, hey, Jen. Okay, hey, Cryptic. Spot Me, the Democrat that has said, this leak is bad! Because, hey, Cryptic, I mean, this is the only time ever in Supreme Court history that there's been a leak. And not one of them is like, we should find out where that leak is. Nah. They're all just like, holy shit, they're gonna overturn the abortion thing. We're not gonna kill enough babies for the baby eater god. Hi, Jen.
Nah, they just didn't read it like usual, because it's just going to the feds. That's all. The left can't read, or when they do, they twist everything.
Yeah. And so I wasn't quite sure which would be more interesting to tackle, because me, really, I am in favor of abortion being only for very dire circumstances. I am really good at tightening that shit up. But what I find more interesting is Spot Me, the Democrat, that has said this leak of the Supreme Court is bad because it's the first one in American history that's ever happened.
See, I'm a more evil, pragmatic person in the sense that I it's not that I have a problem with them doing it. I do, because I think what they're doing is kind of gross. But that part where I do believe in the freedom of choice, yeah, I do believe in that. I just wish that they would come to the better conclusion, which is if you're just going to rip babies from yourself over and over and over again with this idea that it's just about you, then just get the whole thing done. Get them twisted, and the minute you make that decision, hands off everybody else's kid. Because you don't want kids. You keep saying to everybody you want the power over your own body to the point where you're going to dehumanize the infant inside you who didn't choose to be there, did not choose to be there. And now you want to have permission to just keep continually kill them. Like, go for it. That's your side of the aisle, killing your own kids all the time until you're either getting cancer from it or you're causing problems for yourself. And then you go out and you want to have somebody else's kid.
And
I think if you get abortions, no more children for you.
Agreed, because right now all we like to do is suck their brains out into a sink till the day that they're crowning, almost. Mm-hmm. Like
now on the other hand, that sounds kind of harsh, because like I do have the belief that they're okay. I know we are now in 2022. And the idea that kids can still be stupid enough to get pregnant, I don't want to curse some child with pregnancy forever, but we have enough technology now where, yes, you can find that out while there's still a clump of eggs, like at least cells. I know you're still killing something, but there's a difference between something that's a bunch of bubbles and something that's already kind of formed into a thing. I know there's semantics there, but they matter.
Yeah, and I mean...
Sorry, PG, I know that's a stretch, but...
No, it's a line. And at least it's a line. But the problem is this line moves, and
I know.
Every clump of cells is the future made present in your hands in that moment. Yep. And the only image that I see is 60 million souls that are not here since 1972. 60 million. Think about that.
Now, on the other hand, the thing that I really get mad at with the left is the way that they throw things out like they're so easy.
I mean, like brains in a sink?
It's not that. It's the odd woman who'll conflate something like rape or like a child in the womb that's dying. Now, I'm going to be real and be like, listen, child mortality back in the day is horrible. And it still is. You could still have children today and know that they're not going to last for a very long time. It's a sad fate that we still deal with all the time. You know, I don't think people really talk about it that much. We don't really discuss how many kids on a yearly basis we lose because nobody really wants to think about it. We don't. We don't because we can't.
Well,
It's just too sad.
And we didn't choose that. That's the thing. That happened because nature is cruel and so is life, but we didn't choose it. We didn't make it so. Abortion, you make it so.
They conflate it. It's like I get that there's a chance that, like, say I got pregnant and the worst thing ever happened and my child is dying inside of me. I don't know what I would do. Because that's a morality question. Like, I'm even thinking to myself, what would I do if it was me in my child's position, you know? Like,
Well,
that's a level of love where I don't know where I'm gonna, I don't know. If the few minutes of breath that child might have in the world is worth keeping it alive. I don't know.
It
I
isn't.
really don't.
It isn't,
That's
because
a-
that's unnecessary pain. But that is
Yes.
such a minute small that we're making a rule on the exception, which we
And
should
that's
never
exactly, and that's the point. They keep doing that. And that really enrages me because it makes me think of the parents, the moms who are like that. And I don't doubt that some of the females who are in that movement are there because I don't doubt that there's a little level of grief that the left is preyed upon because of that. Could you imagine being in that position and then afterwards having to continually ask
Yes.
yourself the morality of that? Like, that's just not something
Actually,
I would want.
Jen,
Yeah.
yes I can. Hunter.
Well, I know because you were there.
I was
you know?
actually there. That exact scenario is exactly where I was. And that moment where I thought to myself, maybe if we do more skin to skin, maybe if we keep him on 100% life support, he snaps out of it. And that's when I said, where is the line between unnecessary suffering for a small hope of recovery? Is he suffering because I am hoping? Or is this the line? And I did not let them draw that line until it was clear that I was torturing my son. There's the line.
So I don't like that they're preying upon that. You know, because that's not an easy decision.
No, it's
and I
not.
don't think that you should have to feel grief for something that you would reverse if you could have at any given time. And I know that they do that to women and then they twist it so that they don't have to feel grief for it. And like, you shouldn't have to. It was a hard decision.
That's
No
the
Christian
thing.
is sitting there going, "Yeah, that was a
You
good decision."
should have to feel that pain. And you should. Because that pain makes you go, I'm not going to do that again. Whereas
Well-
these abortions are not doing that because that's not what it is. It is, I don't responsibility. I want to put me before everything else. And the line is, does the Constitution protect them or not? Because I can tell you, for rape victims, you better have that baby and give it up because that baby should not have to pay the price for its daddy's sins.
And the other thing too is they're really, really conflating it with our ancestors as though we are living like our ancestors. So like even 200 years ago, women probably, actually women 200 years ago did have more options in who they got to marry. Let's be real, they keep conflating 200 years ago with like 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, you were limited in your options.
Well,
But here's the thing.
you were
Men were
limited
too.
in abortions too, because here's the thing. You're forgetting the one thing. Women didn't fuck around like it was a fucking PlayStation. Women
No, they couldn't.
did not. They couldn't. Their honor was at stake, which means
Well, it's not just that their honor
far
was at stake.
less babies were just fucking one night fucks. Far less babies because women We're taught not to sleep around. And
Well,
women
it's not-
said it's not fair that men can do it and we can't.
It's not even just about the morality. I mean, like, yes, there's that, but a lot of times that wasn't the thing that they got so mad about. It was more about the fact that now that you have a child out of wedlock, you have a much harder time.
Yep, because that bastard is going to be just nothing. Mm-hmm. And I use that language specifically because that's what it would have been, which is why women were very careful not to fuck around out of wedlock because of that.
I mean, at best, if you did it, you were, and I'm saying this, and it's going to be gross, and some people are going to hate me for saying it, you were in a whorehouse. If at best you were pregnant outside of wedlock, you were in a whorehouse.
Yep.
It wasn't good for your kid. Your kid might survive, if you were lucky.
Yeah, and that kid could have chose to make something out of shit or not. And that's the thing. People will move to quality of life, too. What about the quality of life? And I say the quality of life is what that damn kid says it's going to be. That kid could get up like Elon Musk and say, no, this is what's going to happen next. That kid could have been another Isaac Newton, but we'll never know. We think that poor kids or disadvantaged kids or these kids or that kids, that they're going to have a, quote, shit life. I'm sorry, but who gets to define whether the life is good or not? Because different people will describe lives differently. Some people will look at my life and say it was a shit life. I will happen to raise my head and say, actually, no, it's not, because I've got Jack and Fawn. But to somebody like Elon Musk, my life is shit. So how do you define that? You can't. Potential is the future in our present hands, and that clump of cells is potential. And since
Yeah, I feel like this is more to do with crowd control. Like, every time it comes to stuff like this, it's really just more about the powers that be who are just like, yeah, we think that the world is overpopulated. This
even
is
though
before
that's a big
aliens part-
lie. The overpopulation shit is one big ass lie. Because
I
we're
know.
having less kids, we're not replacing our population. We're actually going to start going down.
I know.
The overpopulation shit is a big lie. But people didn't bother looking at whether it was true or not, like Roe versus Wade. People are convinced that if this gets overturned, abortion becomes illegal, which is nonsense.
Like, this is
It's
This is what-
nonsense.
It is, but it's working. That's why I said it's not that I'm for or against abortion. I'm just a more realistic, pragmatic, and brutal person. If they want to do it, fine. I want no part of it because I think it's evil. But I also don't want them to have their hands on anybody else's children because they've already made the choice that they don't want any. And I feel like that's the thing that the left has also been doing is, like, the minute they're like, yeah, well, we don't want to have children and we don't want you to have children either. But if you do have children, we want our hands all over your children so that we can teach them how to think like we do. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, because 100% of people that weren't aborted are the ones making the abortion laws. That's the other funny hypocrite about that.
It's exactly right. Like, the more I'm looking at the people who are freaking out, they're very old. So I get some of them are the older generation where the abortion was a little bit different back then. It was. Like, and I'm not saying that because I'm on their side. I'm saying that
Women will stoop to whatever low stoop they need to stoop to get done what they want done.
that's not what I'm going at. It's one of those times where I will throw some women a bone back in the day because I don't have the ability to prove whether or not it was true or not. But it was a lot harder back in the day to prove if somebody had actually raped you.
Yep.
And I know that feeling is different because I've never experienced that. I don't know the rage of being raped. You do, actually, so maybe you can speak a little bit more on that one. Sorry, I'm throwing out shit that's none of my business.
No, it's okay. It's just I'm the exception to that rule because I understand that when they say you have seeds of your rapist, that baby is a little piece of him. A little piece of him you can never get rid of. When you go to bed at night and you think of little baby boots, there he is. When you smell a certain smell, there he is. When the baby does something that is like him, there he is. And to have to live with that It takes a certain mind to be able to say, no, this child is mine. None of it is you. I'm not going to say that every woman has the wherewithal to do that. I'm not going to say I'm the exception to the rule, but I can say that's what I said to myself. When I looked in bed and I saw things growing, in one moment I could feel him, and in the next I said, no, these are mine. And I took it back for myself. There's not a lot of women that can do that. I get it. However, regardless of the pain, regardless of the nightmares, regardless of the haunting, that's our cross to bear. And it's not fair, but neither is life. But
It's just
I
the
think
urge.
a higher value is to be able to swallow that pill and say they don't deserve to die for what he did to me. And I'm not going to let him take another life on top of mine. Not every woman can say that, but that's what I expect. Because the children are not responsible for what they didn't do. It would be like punishing the kid if a kitty diddler diddled them. It would be like punishing the kid instead of the diddler. And I couldn't do that. Do I expect every woman to be like that? No. But that's the reality of it. That's what it is.
I think it's also the different psychology of other women too. Like, I think some women believe that the urge to do those kind of violent things is something that's passed down through the children. And it's like, to a certain extent, yes, but not necessarily through what you think. Like, we all have the ability to be evil and do evil things, you know, but that's not necessarily because it was your dad. That's because we're human.
Yep.
It's just how it is. It's like some people have what looks like perfect families, and then their kids end up being psycho and then kill people. And then you've got situations with families where, yeah, they were fucked up. And you're like, I can understand why their kids were fucked up.
Yeah, and then they think that baby is... If Hitler raped you, it'd be Hitler's baby, and you should kill Hitler's baby. Like, I understand that psychology, but that is punishing someone before they've ever done something, and that has always been wrong.
It's exactly that. We're all capable of doing heinous things because we're human.
But you know what's even worse? This is the argument that I usually break everybody's argument with. Okay? They'll say, women don't do this flippantly. Women don't just abort for the sake of abort. You know, it's hard on them. And then I say, why is it hard? Why is it hard? Is it because deep down you know you've just killed somebody for something that wasn't their fault? Is it because you know you're murdering somebody? Is that what makes it difficult? Well, it should be difficult, women. Ladies and gentlemen, it should be difficult. It should be so goddamn difficult that we barely ever want to think that we could be capable of doing it.
Now, I'm not throwing this out to bully men. I'm actually doing this as somebody who kind of agrees with that part of the MRA. I really wish that rather than focusing on abortion, we could focus on more birth control for both sexes, not just the females, because I think it's a connection between the two. And in all honesty, I have a bet that the minute that men actually have a safe form of birth control that actually works for them, the feminists and everybody who's outside screaming about their, lack of abortions are going to scream the other side. And the men are going to have to guard their seed.
And that's why fucking everything that moves is not a good idea, nor is it okay, and you probably shouldn't do it.
Right?
Ladies and gentlemen, there are more things to life than sex.
But I'm just saying, I do get that thing where there's so much double-sidedness to that argument. That's why it's such a political thing in the first place. And the pro-choice, I really want to call them out on this because they're all about pro-choice, but you never hear them showing support to the women who chose to keep theirs. You're all
And
about showing
honestly,
support.
you shouldn't have that right to end somebody else's life just because you carry them. I'm sorry that life gave women the burden of having to be the house for 9 months. I'm sorry that happened to you. But get over it. You shouldn't be allowed to decide what lives and what dies just because you don't want to get fat for 7 months. I'm sorry, but that should not be a decision that a woman gets to make just because my body, my fucking choice. I'm sorry. There's a right and there's a wrong, and that is just wrong. If you are adult enough to fuck, you're adult enough to have a kid. Period. If you're not adult enough to have a kid, then don't fuck. Get a fucking toy. They're not that expensive. Otherwise, you know what? I think women should be financially fucking responsible for that life up until 18, just like a man should be. Even if they give it up for adoption, and you know what? Maybe then they'll be careful who they fuck. Because if they have a kid, oh great, 18 years of money. There you go. There's your incentive to not fuck everything. There's your incentive, because women don't like owing money to something they didn't want. So guess what? You old enough to fuck, you old enough to pay out. Not that's kid's fault that you decided to be a slut. If everybody understood that sex is for babies, then we wouldn't have this goddamn problem. But nobody is grown up enough to overcome their instinct to follow hormones. Because we always just fill our appetites. Every base appetite, we fill it, including our need for sex, instead of rising above it and learning to control it. Instead of people actually having control of themselves, they just keep feeding their base appetites, and now 60 million people are fucking dead.
I don't think it's so much that, as so much as it's that people don't understand the value of what a real relationship actually is.
Well,
it's even just like, and I mean, you would know more about this than me yet again because you have a relationship, but having sex with somebody that you're in love with and having sex with somebody you're just doing it with for the keks on the weekend, it's different.
Meanwhile, in Ukraine, nice, credible, nice. May the 4th be with them too. You know, I mean, 60 million souls are not walking on this goddamn planet because we're so into ourselves and all of our appetites. We're horny, it must be fixed. We're hungry, we must eat it. We want this, we want that, we must get it. We never rise above it and go, no. And that's why we're also all fat. Change my mind.
back, BG. I'm just grabbing coffee. Keep talking.
Oh, you're gonna need it. It's all good. I have little tolerance for this kind of crap. Where abstinence, we can't do abstinence because that is unforgivable. Like telling people they can't have orgasms because they might have babies. Abstinence, you are a fool. And it's like, no, you are the fool. But you don't find out until it's too goddamn late. It's like, we are not used to telling our base appetites no. And we need to start doing it. No. Like, it's a great word. I love that word. I use it all the damn time on my son. Fucking no. You know, like, it's really, people need an understanding of this. And I mean, I'm not good at curbing my base appetites either, because if I was, I wouldn't be smoking a goddamn cigarette right now. But I am, because I have no impulse control. But at least I am self-aware enough to notice. But if Roe versus Wade gets overturned, which it should, because there's nowhere in the Constitution that it was written, because back then, who would have thought that we needed to kill so many things?
I'm knocking things over. And that's
if it gets overturned, the federalist system will work. And I am hoping that Canada, for once, will go on a nice, healthy diet. But it won't, because we're a fucking Mary Sue. Our ministers up here are like, hey guys, can't get an abortion in your red state? Come up to Canada. We'll fucking kill them for you, sucking up more baby brains. Because that's what Canada does. We're just so goddamn nice. We use our baby bodies for frickin' home fuel because we're just so green. You know, worshiping on the altar of dead babies. We're no better than the fucking Aztecs at this point. We're sucking up baby brains. And I used to think that people can make up their own minds as long as they're not hurting anybody, that even a federalist system where the blue states will kill babies and the red states won't, that's not even enough for me. I don't think a healthy society kills babies, even if they vote that we should, because it's just wrong. And so I don't think you should be allowed to kill your baby if you're in a blue state. I don't think you should be allowed to suck up baby brains no matter where you are. And that's not very conservative, I guess, or libertarian or whatever. But fact as it is, killing babies is wrong. And I don't think you should be allowed to do it because you're not hurting anybody else, or that it's the law of the state. I think it should be a rule that we can pass where we tell people, no, you can't just fucking kill your baby because you're in a blue state. It sounds a little authoritarian, but there's morally right and morally wrong. And I don't think a woman's emotion comes into play when it comes to somebody's independent life being snuffed out. Oh, donation.
Lucky Charms donation. I once stole a joke from Cryptic. I got sent to the corner, where I put the dunce hat up my ass instead of on my head.
Ew.
Well, let's just say I should have had the enema, but now I have to wash my sheets.
Ew. That's like a backwards funnel out your butthole to your bed. Like, that is not even an Amber Heard style poop. That's just a lot of poop that nobody needs. Nobody needs that amount of poop. Ever. But thanks, Big Dro. Just careful. You really do need a therapist. I am not it. Just so you know. Incredible thread, a red feather. Am not too... Oh, okay. Yeah, conversation. Especially now that there's so many methods of birth control. Agreed. Like, we put our dogs to sleep more humanely than we abort our own offspring. When I say sucking out their brains and throwing it into a sink, that's exactly one of the methods that we kill them. Imagine that all they have is a moment before they die, and all they've known of this world in the 5 seconds they were alive was pain as their brains were sucked through and dropped into the sink. That's how we think of babies.
Well, yeah. It's the excuses, too. Well, actually, there's several things. First of all, don't go on to anybody sharing TikToks of these, like, super liberals who are, like, anti-babies. Because, first of all, maybe 1% of them are even breedable in the first place. And I mean that, like, I as a straight cis woman who speaks to straight cis men, nobody wants to have babies with them in the first place. So that's their first problem. 2, the ones that are, I'm like, for one, darling, all the men that surround you are the kind of guys that you don't really like, because they're kind of creepy and a little bit weird.
Oh, you mean like the new one that's around Kanye's children that just got their initials tattooed on his neck? Like, gross.
Yeah. Oh, he's a weird one. Like, I've never cared for him. Yeah. Every time he crops up, I'm like, oof.
Yeah, like, stay away from Kanye's kids, goddammit.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian's like, everything is all about me, and I don't care if I bring around creepsters around my kids, because everything is all about me. Aha!
Well, of course, it's always been all about her.
God. He should have, thought better in his choices for breeding.
There's been a lot of demonstrations of toxic women, though. I mean, it's not just the Amber Heard thing. I mean, we could joke at those two's expenses too, but like, you know, even the stuff with Megan Fox. Like, okay, so to be fair, I don't give a shit about what she wants to do in the bedroom with her lover. You know, the blood play is kind of creepy. The way they're going about it is kind of manipulative.
Well, the way they're doing it, I mean, that's been around in Hollywood for God knows how long, and everybody's like, ew, this is gross. It's like, dude, that's been happening for like ever. So they think it's normal because that's their life.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind
That's
of
why
have
I'm
to
not-
remember that. And then
That's why-
you got to remember, Jen, that people then willingly sign their kids over to these people.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Now, initially, I don't want to have a problem with what they're doing because it's not even just Hollywood. It's not the first time I've heard of like blood play being a thing. S&M, you know, it's not new. It's more of just the way that it was demonstrated was yet again an example of a relationship where it kind of looked like somebody was uncomfortable with it. To be quite frank, when they were talking about it, one person was describing it with a look of discomfort, and the other one was enjoying that. And that makes me think, okay, you sound like you're into your thing, but at the same time, I don't know about that. It's one of those things where with Hollywood, they send such a mixed signal on things, and that's what makes people question them.
No, what
It's
makes
not what
me
they're
question
doing
them
that's-
is not the mixed signals. It's the fact that what they do is wrong and grotesque, and no wonder it's behind closed doors, because we'd kill them all if we knew. There's no mixed messages about that. We just like to think it's mixed messages because we don't want to know.
Well, I just mean like simple blood play. Like, I mean, anything going past that is stuff I'm not talking about at the moment because I'd have to be talking about that subject. But in terms of blood play, like, you know, somebody, like what they described was somebody cutting themselves across the chest and then somebody else drinking it.
Yep. She
That's
said
not-
that whatever the fuck his name is, that he's a rapper. So, again, not really surprised.
No, it's more of just that guy is doing it for dramatics. That's what I mean. Like, he doesn't come across as the kind of person that I've seen describe that culture. Like, the people who describe that culture, first of all, a lot of people who do that, there are two types of people who do it. One who are doing it for dramatics, and the other who are doing it because certain people get vitamins from drinking blood. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's
very...
that's not them. I don't think it's 'cause
That's
they get the
exactly what I mean.
vitamins.
That's what I mean. What they were trying to make it seem like was it was a mixture of something that we're doing because we need it and something that we're doing for sex, and it's just like they made it twisted. They even something that was it's one of those things where they're taking something that's already kind of a little bit weird and then they're twisting it more.
Again, welcome to
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Right? And that's why I have a problem with it. It's not that they're doing it. It's just one of those things where, like, you look like you're trying to demonstrate this community, but you're doing it from the angle of it's about me.
Well, yeah, because the rapper is always going to be under Eminem's thumb for the rest of his fucking life. And Megan Fox is Megan Fox, who's never going to be anything special ever since she got dropped from fucking Transformers. And so both of them want to be somebody who are nobody. So of course you're going to get that. They're nobodies.
Which is sad because Megan Fox could still do fine.
Yeah, except her attitude kind of fucked her up.
A lot of them have gone that route, though. I think it's the go woke, go broke clause. Don't go woke.
Well, I mean, she did say that what's his name was like working with Hitler, which is why she got thrown off the set, which is where, you know, her career started taking off and then it just fucking ended.
Oh no, she's got a bit of an attitude problem, but it's not the first time in Hollywood that somebody's had a diva problem.
Yeah, except the diva only lasts if the diva is legit. She's got a diva problem, but she's nothing.
No,
she's always going to be nothing. But right now she's in the news because she just came up with something really cool to talk about in public. Which is that. Her creepy fucking blood play shit. And she knew that it would get something. You know, it gets some kind of buzz.
Yeah, I think Hollywood is starting to wake up to the go woke, go broke though. It's slow. It's very, very slow. But yeah, I'm sorry guys. My research is limited to Clown World and sometimes Jeremy and sometimes other Jeremy, and then I don't really watch the third Jeremy as much. It's not because I don't mean to, it's just YouTube is like that. They're selective on their Jeremies.
Jeremy are we talking about? Because the only one that I think of is Jeremy Boring, and I know that's not who you're talking about.
I know of 3. The one from the Quartering, the Geek and Gamers guy, and then there's another Jeremy who just goes by Jeremy now. I think I can't remember.
Yeah,
but they were part of the same group.
Then there's Jeremy.
They were technically part of the same
Boring,
group.
And Jeremy.
There's also the Nerdrotic guy, who's also Jeremy, I think.
Yeah, and then there's Jeremy Boring. He's the co-founder of the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro.
Okay, yeah, I don't know him as well. There's so many Jeremys. Oh my goodness.
And I mean, this Jeremy is fighting the culture war too. He's the one that got the boring flamethrower from Elon Musk and set a bunch of razors on fire that said Gillette all over them in his office. And Ben Shapiro was not happy that he set fire to razors in the office. And it was hilarious because Crowder was laughing about it, and so was I because it's funny.
Yep.
You should follow that Jeremy. You'd like that Jeremy. He's hilarious. He's the one that did Jeremy's razors because of Harry's razors. And now makes more than Harry's razors. And it hasn't even been out a fucking year, which, yay. And like I said, flamethrower.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, there's the Elon Musk shit, which is just always fun. It's like, you're giving conservatives more of a voice, and they're crushing us now. How dare you? We must now bring in legislation to stop you. And
the
then,
legislation they've brought in, like the leader of the march is Cuckoo Bananas. They are like representing their crowd like Cuckoo Bananas.
well, yeah, she sang like Mary fucking Poppins, too. Like, goddamn.
I told you she was taking it from the Harry Potter angle. I know you guys were all like, oh, it's 1984. I'm like, no. Oh, no, she's taking it from Germany. No. She could have taken it from places where it would be more intelligent to take it from. But she took it from Harry Potter.
Well, that's because she's not intelligent. She
I
probably
know.
hasn't read a book past Harry Potter in her goddamn life.
That's what I mean. The people who are in charge of the US right now are all like the biggest, dumbest weebs on the planet.
Yeah, that sounds about completely right. And it's retarded because all the conservatives that are, you know, real about their game are like, no, 1984, you dumb yucks.
Like, I wish it was. I mean, to a certain extent it is, but not really, like, indirectly.
Oh,
But it's being told to, like, really soft children.
By the way, did you hear what happened to Dave Chappelle?
Yes, the guy who rushed the stage and then
With
it
the
ended up as a
switchblade.
pretzel.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
gonna
I didn't
stab
know it
him
was a
with
switchblade. I heard that it was a
switchblade.
weapon. I didn't know it was a switchblade.
It was
but
a
ooh.
fucking switchblade, and
No wonder he ended up a pretzel.
well, you want to know why he ended up a pretzel? Is because Jamie Foxx got up on stage, which means his security followed him on stage, and that's why he ended up a pretzel. Jamie Foxx saved him. And then Chris Rock got up on stage and went, Will Smith! It was for
That
a
is
Netflix
so lucky
special.
because he did hit him. Like, he did hit him. Like, I don't think he hit him with the knife, obviously. Otherwise, there'd be a different story. But
Oh,
like,
yeah,
he took a swing at him.
He wanted to kill him for whatever joke he was saying, and he was recording a Netflix special, so everybody's camera phones got confiscated, and now Netflix is like, should we put this in the special? Because maybe? And I mean,
Do
Chris
it.
Rock just, it's another Will Smith, like, oh, Jesus, man. Like, I'm sorry.
No,
but-
they would probably encourage them to keep it in because this stuff is ridiculous. And the more people who know about it, the better. It's not to encourage it.
Well, yeah, because clearly he's a fucking pretzel now. They apparently have Chappelle's back there, which is great that Jamie Foxx and Chris Rock were there to, you know, have his back, thank God. But, like, what the fuck? You know? And it was a joke that, you know, only leftists would get mad at, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And they clearly have the moral superiority of gods. And they should totally tell us how to live our lives at all times.
It's also a dramatic shift, though. This is what I mean about watching Hollywood. Like, no, they should never ever dictate how we live our lives. In fact, you should do the exact opposite of what they're telling you to do, because it's probably something they've sold their souls for. But when you see such a drastic change in the attitude, you can tell there's been a split.
Well, yeah, hence culture war. It's a cold war at the moment.
It's the only thing that I've got that's entertaining. You know, at best I go to work and I make up zombie stories just to keep things a little bit more amusing while I'm not, like, you know, living in Canada, paying most of my money to the government and getting not a lot back.
Yeah, I only get money from the government.
Yeah, but I wish you would actually get more than some of the other people who get money, because I know that the other people who get money are just sitting at home doing fuck all.
Essentially, yeah.
At least you try to do other things, despite your limited ability to. I appreciate that. And you have got reasons. And, like, complications outside of just one reason. Most
got a
people
few.
just have one reason, and it's called they just don't want to go to work. Because they make enough to live by.
Yeah, which isn't much, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Ugh. And of
Some
course,
people are okay with just enough.
you're
I
not
don't-
wrong. I blame Everclear, because he says, you know, welfare Christmas. It's the coolest. Yeah.
I'm not meaning to judge, because I live a little bit frugally anyway. You know, I just
judge. Matter of fact, I mean to judge when I judge, and I judge at all times.
But it's just it's more of just I like the pride of going to work. I like the mental health of knowing that I'm going out and I'm doing something. Like, is there a lot of meaning to my job? I made the store some sales, so to somebody it had some meaning. To me, no, not really. But it gave me something to do. You know, and it's like I watched this old guy named George who works there. And you know what? It's probably going to be the thing that keeps him going longer than anyone else his age would go. Because it gives him something to do.
Yeah, probably.
It is important to have something. Like, I mean, I get it's not what people necessarily want, because part of the fable right now is that daydream that you could just be anything that you want. And it's like, to a certain extent, you could be anything that you want as long as you're willing to do it. And you can.
Jeremy.
I mean, that part is true too.
Oh my God! Did you just quote Jeremy Spoken?
Yeah, spoke in class today.
Well, Pearl Jam.
Mm-hmm.
It was about a kid that shut up his class. Unrelated. It was just so random of Red Feather to do such a thing that it made me go, huh? But, random things, you know? Just, it's that, yeah. Roe versus Wade. I hope they overturn it because it was a shit ruling. It wasn't in the Constitution. It never would have been in the Constitution. The founders would have never thought to include dead baby brains in the Constitution, because it was, you know, coat hanger for a fucking reason. Because it was not good to do. And it was, you know, a healthy society that said, no, this is not what we do to our offspring in the womb. And that's just, it's wrong. You know? And I hope they overturn it. And I think it's funny that all the Democrats are like, well, they should tell that, like, public opinion. And I'm like thinking to myself, okay, public opinion is one of the things that judges are supposed to ignore. Like, judge, that job, out of all the jobs, all the political classes, all of the different factions, all of this and that, judges are supposed to be the one thing that steps outside of public opinion and rules on the truth, no matter the cost. And even if that pisses everyone off, they do it because that's what's right. And everybody's like, but they should know public opinion. And I'm like, not one Democrat has sat there and been like, well, actually, they're not supposed to go on pressure. They're supposed to go on what is right, what is true. But they can't say that. Just like Joe Biden, the other, I think it was either today or yesterday, admitted that they are asking to be able to kill a child. And it's interesting. They forgot the terminology of cells, and he said, kill a child. And I'm like, huh, he's going to hear about that later. Because he might be, the president, but he has handlers. And they're going to remind him that it's not a person. Even though at one point in time in Joe Biden's career, he actually wanted Roe versus Wade to be overturned because he knew that it was unconstitutional. There was a point in his career where he actually voted against it, even though he just said he blocked Ronald Reagan's justice pick because of Roe versus Wade. But then again, he said the reason he's gotten into politics has changed so many goddamn times, he probably can't fucking remember what the truth actually is anymore.
The truth is whatever his wife tells him at this point.
Yeah, because he is a glorified walking houseplant.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Be like, Jill Biden?
Right? She's what, has decided. She decides the things. That's what she does. And women apparently just love to kill babies. That is our number one job on this planet. Because we want to be equal to men. And thusly, we should be able to have unfeathered sex whenever we want. Because we are just like men. I thought we were supposed to be better than men. But apparently, we got to be worse than men. I don't understand this pretzely logic. But this is 2022.
Yeah, I know. Like in other species, they do other things to the men. In our species, we go after our children.
Yeah, we are self-hatred. We love to just kill our own kids, and if we can't kill our babies, then we're very, very angry. Because women, after all, were the only ones with the arbitrary ability to kill. Anybody else you killed out of the womb like that, you go to jail. But women, you can just kill something. And we have been arbitrarily allowed to do that because the world thought we were mature enough for that power, and finally the adults are back, and they're like, okay, no, you're clearly not. With great power came great responsibility, and you are not worthy. And the parents are coming back to say, no, you cannot choose to kill people anymore because you're clearly not mature enough. And the women right now are taking a fucking temper tantrum about it, and just. It makes you go, God damn, I wish I was a man.
Well, if I was a man, I would be making that a part of my dating process. I would. And it's not to control them. It really isn't. It's more of just like, hey, if I want to have a baby with you, are you going to kill it? And if they say yes, maybe say no.
Before you get married, make them sign a contract. I will not get an abortion, otherwise I will pay you $1 million. There you go. Then guaranteed no abortions.
Unless it's something like medical reasons,
Or she fell
you don't
down
want
the
to kill
stairs.
your wife, but...
I mean, sometimes falling down the stairs is legit. Just don't push her. Push her is bad.
Yeah. It's just, for medical reasons, obviously, we gotta take that into account. But yeah, I think if I was a dude, I would be asking more questions. And, to be fair, maybe that's part of the problem. Because women, we want all the benefits of independence, but we don't want any of the responsibility that comes with it.
And that's why
That's
our power is being taken away.
mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to run the intro because Jen will have to go to Hammer. And that'll be a lucky good time. So thanks for stopping by. Thanks, Big Dro, for sharing. But seriously, dude, your butthole is not a PlayStation remote. Stop it. See y'all next time.
Bye, guys.